Finance, HPCL again from the OMC pack. They were the major of the gainers from the mid cap. LIC also saw a good move coming in from LIC stock today. It was up 5%, and the buzz is that company might get a general insurance license also. On the earnings front, heavyweight from the auto sector, Bajaj Auto posted good set of numbers on all front. All numbers were above estimates. Exports revenue grew. EBITDA came in around about 4.8%. So overall, a good day in trade, but anything specific that you track and stay?
Well, lots of factors to watch out for today. Lots has happened in today's trade. First of all, let's talk about the markets in general. Like you mentioned, Priyanka, fresh record highs coming in for both the Nifty and Sensex, but Sensex has reversed all of them. Nifty also barely held on to the green at the close of today's session. So overall, that was what was being seen. The broader market also flipped towards the negative. Now, moving on, let's talk about some other important news pieces that we did see coming today. HUL was a buzz today on the back of the news so that came about the selling of its water purification business to AO Smith, and that was sold at an enterprise value of 600 crore rupees. So that was a newsmaker today. Vedanta was the one stock that had everybody's attention today on the back of that QIP that they launched at a floor price of 461.26 rupees per share as well. And also what we are learning is that there has been an increase in the size of this QIP as well, and they've upsized the share placement to $1.02 billion now. So there's an expansion. They had this room to expand, and they have taken that room and they have expanded a little bit further than the initial announcement that had come. So Vedanta also continued to be in focus. And Priyanka mentioned about Bajaj Auto, but even from the non-Nifty pack, we had a couple of earnings coming today. You had Himadri Speciality, very good set of numbers coming in. Stock reacted positively after that, after those numbers came out. DB Corp also good set coming in. Century Textiles is the one I want to talk about because Nifty Realty was a top gainer today. Very stellar moves coming in. Entire Nifty Realty pack was in focus, but Century Textiles also stood out today on the back of two reasons. First was they've bought a 5-acre land parcel in Gurugram, further following their presence in NCR. So the stock was anyway trading higher because of that. And then followed by that, after around midday, you had a very good set of numbers coming in from Century Textiles as well. You can see the sharp spike in the stock when those numbers came out, and Century Textiles has ended the day with a 5% uptick. Lots to talk about when it comes to the markets today, but as we head into a holiday tomorrow, let's understand what we can expect from the trading session day after tomorrow, especially on the back of all of these earnings. And to make better sense of all of these cues that we've seen today, we've been joined in the studio by our in-house technical expert Kunal Bothra. And Kunal, thanks so much for taking the time out and joining us today. Help us understand prima facie on the markets front, because we had a good open today, fresh levels being inked on Sensex and Nifty, and then a slight bit of a reversal was seen. Do you think this is just the budget euphoria or the caution before the budget kicking in, or do you is this the beginning of a long-term spell of cautiousness coming in on the market?
No, I think there's no caution in the market right now, because I think the way the indices are behaving, the way the market breadth is shaping up, I think it's just a pure indication that there's a lot of confidence in the market. So, going into the budget event, you've seen India VIX just at 14.2 levels. The last time I think we'd seen the budgets, or in the previous sense of the budgets, the India VIX generally tends to hover on the 16 to 17 mark. So till the time we don't hit those levels, I don't believe that there could be any kind of a major caution which can come back into the indices. And it's been a regular phenomenon where the index tends to make a new high for itself on an intraday basis, and then immediately we tend to see some profit booking into the indices. But then gradually, I think the trend just keeps on moving up higher. The good part about the market in terms of the data is 24,500 mark on the put option is seeing some bit of writing, incremental writing that could act as a floor or a support for the index. And we flagged off this in the morning as well, that if there are any dips closer to 24,500 mark on intraday basis, I would believe that should be an opportunity to buy. So we maintain that same stance, maintaining long positions, on the indices as well as on the individual stocks, and trail the stop losses for stocks significantly given the way the momentum is shaping up.
All right, so Kunal, let's take it as a breather that markets may be consolidating. In fact, same case with banks also. There has been a good range of 1,000-odd points where they are consolidating. But then what lies ahead now? How would you trade? What are your recommendations here? Which counters look very strong to you?
So I will go with fresh breakout candidates. LIC Housing is the first stock which I would suggest as a buy. Looks attractive in terms of a breakout potential above 800 plus mark where it closed today. Targets of 850, stop loss to be kept at 790. And the second would be about Godrej Properties. We saw the real estate stocks making a very strong comeback. Godrej Properties completing a flag formation on the daily charts. Would suggest a buy with 3,500 as a target. Stop us at 33.35.
All right, so Kunal, thanks for both of those picks coming in. On that note, we'll let you go. Thank you so much for sharing your view as well as your picks. But viewers, let's keep it going with the technicals. And now we're being joined in our studio by my colleague Shrishti, who is here to flag off the stocks that she's liking on the technical charts. Shrishti.
Well, we are here to highlight two of the breakout stocks that we spotted today. And first up, let's have a look at Alembic Pharma, because though the pharma space has been holding up well, but what was interesting to see, more than 10% move coming in for Alembic Pharma in just one day, a very strong green candle from the word go. The stock only built on to its gain. And it was interesting to see that it did cross its critical resistance of 1,050 odd rupees and managed to make a closing even above those levels. It was just one single day that the stock took to go away with all the selling pressure all throughout. But now, if you will see that otherwise, the stock was actually taking support, or rather trading below its key moving averages. But now it indeed gives a confidence when the stock is trading above its key moving averages and building onto the gains. But this was the first stock that we spotted on the technical front. Moving on to the next counter, a very interesting one, Piramal Enterprise. Though we don't discuss this stock much often, but what was interesting is that finally that stock could cross that 950 odd mark. Why I say so? Look at the charts. In the past, so many times, 1, 2, 3, 4 times the stock has actually tried to move above those levels, but every time got rejected. But today, a move of more than 3% is where the stock moved above those levels, 970, 980 sort of a level we have seen on Piramal Enterprise, well supported by a long build-up, and hence this was the second breakout stock that we spotted today. Back to you.
All right, that's a good spot. Srishti, clearly we can see the breakout range where you have shown us. Thanks very much for highlighting both the stocks. Okay, one from the pharma and one from the finance space. Moving on, let's get your word from the wise. Even as large cap banks drive the bulls on Dalal Street, Quant Mutual Fund Sandeep Tandon believes there is a caution to be exercised when it comes to these names. Additionally, he also maintains a constructive stance on the PSU space. Let's hear out what is his rationale behind all that.
We have been quite cautious, okay, on the private sector bank for not only for last few months, it has been for last many quarters. And we have talked about, because we believe the leverage economy as a concept is declining. You ask me next few decades whether banks as a sector, which is 40% of the index today, and if banks exist in this form, whether the weightage will remain, the answer is big no. Okay. Yes, I also believe that banks will also change accordingly, because the way we're looking at the digital currency sort of thing, or central bank digital currency thing, and some of the changes which is happening globally, we believe bank will not exist in this form, and hence the de-rating process. And I also believe the weightage, which if you have seen of 40%, will not be there in next 30 years or 20 years, this sort of weightage. From that perspective, we have been extremely cautious. I'm not saying I'm being negative on the banking asset space. You can't be negative, because given the economy interest which is there and valuations have corrected. Again, it's a relative word. It has corrected a lot. But again, it's a very theoretical exercise whether these valuations are expensive or not. That as compared to globally, they are still very expensive. There's still over ownership is there. We remain very cautious on this space, and PSUs were relatively cheap. They are fairly liquid. If I want to exit or build a position in any of the PSU, the liquidity is extraordinary. So which was not the case few years back. So I will like to play this thesis. When that's the reason we went overboard and build a large exposure or maintain our large exposure toward this space, because they are fairly liquid, fairly attractive in terms of valuation point of view. Impact cost was on lower side, and they were trading in the neglected territory.
All right, that's the word coming in from Sandeep Tandon of Quant MF. Cautious on banks, but continues to like the PSU space. But on that note, viewers, we'll slip into a very short break on this edition of Your Trades. We'll be right back with more news and updates. Stay tuned.
All right, now let's get your action from the derivative space. FI's long short ratio is constant with FIs at a 80% to 20% on the short side, but then India VIX is above 14, it's 14.3, but the trend has little shifted for Bank Nifty. Now the trend which appears in today's trend is a long unwinding, but then Nifty also trades as a flat trend. The active calls which are active for 18th July expiry was 24,700, 24,800. They were the call writing which happened. That is the reason we could see some kind of pressure coming in the higher levels, and Nifty could not sustain those levels. But there seems to be a good cushion, good support at 24,500, 24,400, where the maximum of the put writing has happened. So looks like maybe we could be in for a consolidated or small range of trade staying from here.
Absolutely, Priyanka. Range is looking rather tight and narrow as of now, but like Kunal said, he's not seeing any reason to worry. So let's just hold on and see what happens leading up to the budget. But let's just talk about the big story of the day, and rather the stock of the day to watch out for today was HUL. And HUL was in focus after the FMCG major sold its water purification business Pureit to AO Smith. Winnie Motiwala is joining us with all of those details about what this deal looks like and how this is going to benefit both of these companies. Winnie.
Yes, talking about HUL, they've sold their water purification business Pureit to AO Smith. Now, the sales that you look at it for Pureit in FY24 was at around 293 crores. And when you're looking at it at the valuation which they've sold, it's 2 times EV to sales valuation. Overall, they've sold it for a value of 600 crores. So keeping an eye out on that, the EV to sales is 2 times. Now, other than that, when you're looking at it, Pureit as a part of HUL's business, the sales have only been less than 1% of overall HUL's turnover. The company has spoken about how they want to focus more on their cost strategies, and this is in line with that expectation. So the management commentary also highlights that this is in line with the focus, the strategy to focus more on their core categories. What analysts believe that given the water purification business that's quite competitive, there is low product differentiation, and to be a price disruptor also it becomes quite tough in such a highly competitive market. So yes, what they believe that for HUL, it is slight bit of a positive. UBS continues to maintain their rating. Nuvama said that they see marginal positive up move that is possible for HUL, as well as they're maintaining the buy rating for the stock. This transaction would be completed in a time period of 3 months, so keeping an eye on this one.
News seems to be moving for HUL up 2.5%. Thanks, Winnie, for all those details. Now, shifting focus to an Economic Times report that says that states may soon allow home delivery of liquor through quick commerce platforms, the likes of Zomato, Swiggy, and Big Basket. Let's go across to Somit to understand more on this.
Well, Economic Times has reported this that multiple states are mulling home delivery of liquor through quick commerce. Now, the states that may allow home delivery of liquor include the list of New Delhi, Karnataka, Haryana, Punjab, Tamil Nadu, Goa, and Kerala. Now, if you look, if you remember back during the COVID times, also if you, Zomato and Swiggy both had tried to enter this market when there was lockdown. However, eventually they had to exit this market due to high cash burn and the lack of scalability. Now, again, states have started to mull this. And if you look at the alcohol consumption market in India, it stands at around 60 billion US dollars, and nearly 40% of the consumption comes from the states that we just mentioned, that is New Delhi, Karnataka, Haryana, Punjab, Tamil Nadu, Goa, and Kerala. So if these states go ahead and implement this regulation, then it could be a big market for Zomato's subsidiary, which is Blinkit, which is into quick commerce. Now, analysts believe that the unit economics have changed now than what it was earlier during the lockdown period, and liquor delivery could achieve scale in tier 1 cities, at least for quick commerce companies like Blinkit. And analysts are expecting that if at all Blinkit enters this market, then their gross order value could see a bump up of at least 5% odd, and that is because the entire Indian market is around 60 billion US dollars. 40% of that is these states, and if you assume that Blinkit garners around 33% market share, which currently it has when it comes to quick commerce business, then the gross order value or the market share of Blinkit could be around 79 million US dollars, which is nearly 5% of their current gross order value. So this could be a new market for Blinkit going forward. However, we still do not know when about the timelines and what are the legalities that the company might have to comply with to go ahead for this service. But if it starts, then the gross order value could see a bump of at least 5% going forward.
All right, Swami, thanks for all of those details coming in. Zomato in focus because it was down 5% today. Now, time now for some excerpts of our chat with Vishesh Srivastav, MD India Investments at Temasek Holdings. Listen into what makes Temasek bullish on India's startup space.
I think a lot of the startups, not just Zomato, are now at a point where they have become sustainable businesses. They have started generating profits, and so they can continue to fulfill their mission without depending on external capital, right? And this, I think, is a very good inflection point for specific companies, but the ecosystem as a whole. The thing about when habits change is that there's a famous saying that we always overestimate the short term, but we always underestimate the long term. And we believe that there's a lot of penetration headroom yet to come. And the capabilities that companies build in this journey will help them execute on the next big opportunity. So we believe that investing in early stage companies, when done in the right manner, leads to so many other benefits, not just for investors, but for the ecosystem as a whole. And we believe that India is at the cusp of beginning to realize some of those benefits now, not just in our companies, but in the ecosystem.
All right, some more bullish comments coming in now for at least India's growth story. But then let's go ahead and let's understand how the numbers look like for Bajaj Auto. It was a stellar quarter from Bajaj Auto as it surpasses 18-hour estimates also on all fronts. The company saw a 10% uptick in its net income on a Y-on-Y basis. Revenue was over 15% up, wherein the exports revenue saw a double-digit growth compared with the same time last year. My colleague Srishti is here to share more details on those quarterly numbers. Srishti, share your observations.
Well, indeed, a good set coming in from Bajaj Auto. All the numbers were actually above than what we were expecting at ET now, and especially the margin figure. Once again, the margins are above 20% and 20.3% is what the company has clocked in. And even on the profit number, 1,988 crores is what the company has reported. What we have seen is that the domestic volumes were supportive enough. The export have seen a gradual recovery, and this time the company did mention that the exports revenue grew double digit on a YY basis, with LATAM clocking its highest ever revenue, and there was an uptick seen in the Asian markets as well. The consistent growth in the market share over time has led the LATAM emerging market as the largest region for this particular quarter. So that LATAM area was one of the growth engines for the company. But apart from that, if we talk about their Brazil facility, one of the new facilities that the company has added. So the facility has been commissioned with an annual capacity of 20,000 units in the quarter gone by. But when it comes to their product expansion plans as well, then definitely for Bajaj Chetak, the company was on the expansion spree for their distributions and the dealers network. And the company did say that their network has been expanded to 500 stores by the quarter end, very near to the target that the company did set for Q1. Apart from that, when it comes to their Triumph, then the delivery of that was actually 19,000 units in Q1, which is a strong number. And the company is looking to expand its dealership to 150 in the coming months versus 100 showrooms now. So all in all, a good set by Bajaj Auto, and indeed the stock also saw a good move.
All right, all eyes are going to be on the big event that's just next week, and that's the union budget. Let's move on to a new budget exclusive story. The government is expected to continue with the capex target that was announced in the interim budget. My colleague Prakash is here with all of those exclusive details. Prakash, take it away.
Yes, we have been informed that no major changes are expected in the capital expenditure target, the forthcoming union budget. Sources are informing that the government is likely to continue the capex target announced in the interim budget. Some minor tweaks are expected based on the ministry's demand. As you are aware, that the government has allocated rupees 11.11 lakh crore capex target in the interim budget, which is likely to be continued. Some key sectors like agriculture, rural development, railways, housing, road transport, and highways will continue to get high allocation. Along with that, the sources are also informing that despite high allocation to some key sectors, the government will maintain the fiscal discipline roadmap in the budget. The fiscal deficit target to be to be retained at 5.1% for the financial year 2025, in line with the interim budget. And the government will stick to the fiscal roadmap to achieve 4.5% deficit target by the financial year 2026.
All right. Thanks very much, Prakash, for all those exclusive detail on the budget story. That happens to be the big story for the moment. Well, that's all in this edition of Your Trades. It's a truncated week. We see you on your Thursday now. Hello, I warm welcome you watching Your Trades on ET Now. This is Priyanka Uppal along with me, Snehi. Snehi, did we again saw another record levels on Nifty and of course Sensex also, but that was the highest point of the day also.
Yes.
Then we saw that the index dragging down, but then not a much of the loss here. But then spaces clearly which were gaining today were real estate, FMCG, IT consumption. They were the biggest gainers. Talking about on the contrary, on the flip side, PSE, energy space, these were the spaces where the stocks were a little subdued in the trade today. Heavyweight stocks were missing from the action today. Heavyweights like HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, they did close in the green. In fact, ICICI Bank did close with the strength, but then heavyweights like Reliance Industries, HDFC Bank, they were not much. They were missing from the action today. Actually, metals made a comeback, kind of. All stocks, barring Hindalco, all stocks closed in green today. You talk about stocks like MOIL, Coal India, Tata Steel, they were in action today. And the top gainers also on the Nifty was Coal India, OMCs again, BPCL, Bharti Airtel Telecom stocks were again in action today. HUL, consumption major, and LTI Mindtree before the numbers. So IT pack also did made a comeback today. So overall, sector specific, if you see, it was not a bad day today. Broader markets, we saw major of the real estate stocks making a bigger move. Stocks like Prestige, Godrej Industries, and in fact, from finance side, Poonawalla Finance, HPCL again from the OMC pack, they were the major of the gainers from the mid cap. LIC also did saw a good move coming in from LIC stock today. It was up 5%, and the buzz is that company might get a general insurance license also. On the earnings front, heavyweight from the auto sector, Bajaj Auto posted good set of numbers on all front. All numbers were above estimates. Exports revenue grew, EBITDA came in round about 4.8%. So overall, a good day in trade, but anything specific that you track, Ms. Neha?
Well, lots of factors to watch out for today. Lots
लोग ये भी पूछेंगे अगर आप इतना ट्रेडिंग में कमा रहे हो तो चार्ज क्यों कर रहे हो, फ्री में क्यों नहीं सिखा रहे हो? तो देखो कोई भी चीज फ्री में मिलती है ना उसका वैल्यू नहीं होता। अब देखो जिम में भी लोग पैसा भरने के बावजूद भी नहीं जाते, और अगर आप पैसा भर के
Earnings front, heavyweight from the auto sector, Bajaj Auto posted good set of numbers on all front. All numbers were above estimates. Exports revenue grew. EBITDA came in round about 4.8%. So overall, a good day in trade. But anything specific that you track and stay?
Well, lots of factors to watch out for today. Lots has happened in today's trade. First of all, let's talk about the markets in general. Like you mentioned, Priyanka, fresh record highs coming in for both the Nifty and Sensex, but Sensex has reversed all of them. Nifty also barely held on to the green at the close of today's session. So overall, that was what was being seen. The broader markets also flipped towards the negative. Now, moving on, let's talk about some other important news pieces that we did see coming today. HUL was a buzz today on the back of the news flow that came about the selling of its water purification business to AO Smith, and that was sold at an enterprise value of 600 crore rupees. So that was a newsmaker today. Vedanta was the one stock that had everybody's attention today on the back of that QIP that they launched at a floor price of 461.26 rupees per share as well. And also, what we are learning is that there has been an increase in the size of this QIP as well, and they've upsized the share placement to $1.02 billion now. So there's an expansion. They had this room to expand, and they have taken that room and they have expanded a little bit further than the initial announcement that had come. So Vedanta also continued to be in focus. And Priyanka mentioned about Bajaj Auto, but even from the non-Nifty pack, we had a couple of earnings coming today. You had Himadri Speciality, very good set of numbers coming in. Stock reacted positively after that, after those numbers came out. DB Corp also good set coming in. Century Textiles is the one I want to talk about because Nifty Realty was a top gainer today. Very stellar moves coming in. Entire Nifty Realty pack was in focus, but Century Textiles also stood out today on the back of two reasons. First was they've bought a 5-acre land parcel in Gurugram, further following their presence in NCR. So the stock was anyway trading higher because of that. And then followed by that, after around midday, you had a very good set of numbers coming in from Century Textiles as well. You can see the sharp spike in the stock when those numbers came out, and Century Textiles has ended the day with a 5% uptick. Lots to talk about when it comes to the markets today, but as we head into a holiday tomorrow, let's understand what we can expect from the trading session day after tomorrow, especially on the back of all of these earnings. And to make better sense of all of these cues that we've seen today, we're being joined in the studio by our in-house technical expert Kunal Botra. And Kunal, thanks so much for taking the time out and joining us today. Help us understand prima facie on the markets front, because we had a good open today, fresh levels being inked on Sensex and Nifty, and then a slight bit of a reversal was seen. Do you think this is just the budget euphoria or the caution before the budget kicking in, or do